A professional skydiving instructor has died after a skydiving accident in the Inland Empire. 28-year-old Devrey LaRiccia Chase and her student were descending to the ground during a routine jump that's happening in Paris last Tuesday.
Welcome to our channel, where limits are just a suggestion and fear is fuel. Today, we dive headfirst into the world of extreme sports, where every second counts, every heartbeat races, and every jump, flip, and drop reminds us what it means to feel alive. Buckle up. This is not for the faint of heart. The skies were Devrey LaRiccia Chase's cathedral, a boundless expanse of freedom where she felt invincible, tethered only by her faith in gravity and the thrill of freefall. For Devrey, skydiving was more than just a career. It was a life philosophy, a way to dance on the edge of fear and teach others to find their strength in the surrender to the unknown. A petite woman with a powerful spirit, she seemed to belong to the air itself, moving through it with a grace and calm that awed all who jumped with her. Those who knew her well understood that her courage was infectious. They left her side not only as more daring skydivers but as more daring people. On this day in late August 2024, the California drop zone was bathed in the golden glow of the setting sun. It was an afternoon like countless others she had lived, where the thrill of her work was laced with the familiar routine of an instructor, preparing novices to trust, to leap, to believe they could conquer their fear. Her students looked to her as both teacher and guide, someone who transformed their apprehension into wonder. And that's exactly what Devrey cherished most, the way her work allowed her to shape lives from above, guiding her students to discover who they were in the span of a single, heart-stopping freefall. As she packed her chute and prepared for her final jump of the day, the air around her seemed still, tranquil, a deceptive calm that masked the shadow waiting for her in the skies. Her thoughts were focused on the young man she'd soon be guiding, yet her love for her husband, Freddie, and her dreams lingered quietly in her mind, like soft echoes. This was Devrey's world, a place where gravity was merely a suggestion, where she danced between the ground and the heavens. Little did she know, however, that she was about to make her final descent, not in the triumphant way she had hundreds of times before, but in a way that would forever change her life and the lives of all who loved her. And as the sun dipped lower, casting a warm haze over the fields, Devrey stepped toward the plane, unaware that this sky, this jump, would become her final chapter. Chapter 1. A Life in the Skies. Devrey LaRiccia Chase had always felt at home in the vastness of the sky. As a seasoned skydiving instructor, her life was defined by freedom and courage, pushing herself to defy gravity day after day. To those around her, Devrey was more than an instructor. She was a beacon of confidence, a master of her craft who taught others to conquer their fears. August 2024 was another chapter in a life she had devoted to flying high, guiding first-timers through the awe of freefall and the thrill of embracing the unknown. The drop zone in California was where Devrey spent her days, teaching students who sought a taste of her world. From early morning until the sun dipped low, she was there, watching the horizon, ready for the next jump. For Devrey, the work wasn't a job but a passion, a chance to give others the gift of freedom in the skies. Her calm, confident presence gave first-time jumpers the courage to trust her, to take that leap. She loved the anticipation in their eyes, the moment of shared exhilaration as they soared together into the wind. But as she'd soon learn, not all skies are clear, and fate has a way of striking where it's least expected. Chapter 2. The Last Student. Late that afternoon, as the sun began casting long shadows, Devrey was preparing for her final jump of the day. Her last student was a young man, visibly nervous but committed. The flight up was spent reassuring him, her words steady and calm. "Trust the process," she'd say, her voice a beacon of assurance. This final dive was meant to be like all the others, controlled, exhilarating, a lesson in courage and trust.
It's too long.
Are you excited?
I am. I'm making myself excited.
Are you gonna get over that fear of the door?
Gonna get over it.
As the plane climbed, Devrey's thoughts were likely a mix of routine and peace. To her, this was home. She lived for these moments of clarity, floating in the open skies, feeling weightless, watching her students confront their own limitations. The young man beside her trusted her completely, unaware of the hidden storm that would soon change everything. Little did either of them know, this final jump of the day would become Devrey's last, a tragic culmination of her years in the sky. Chapter 3. Into Freefall. The door opened and they leaped, plunging into the open air. The sensation of freefall was a pure thrill, a blend of surrender and control, chaos and peace. For Devrey, it was second nature, an act as familiar as breathing. The patchwork of colors on the ground below blended into a beautiful landscape, and for a few blissful moments, they were free of the weight of the world. Devrey glanced over at her student, who was filled with awe and fear, and smiled, reminding him of the beauty and wonder of what they were experiencing together. But unseen below, a dust devil, a rogue whirlwind, was forming. Normally harmless, these small swirls are usually brief and benign. But today, the whirlwind was different. Invisible against the green fields, it lurked like a hidden predator, waiting for Devrey and her student as they descended. Devrey had faced countless challenges in the sky, but nothing could prepare her for what was waiting. Chapter 4. Chaos in the Air. As they approached the landing zone, everything changed. The dust devil struck her parachute with ferocity, turning her once stable canopy into a spinning trap. Devrey's instincts kicked in, and her mind raced through every maneuver she'd practiced, every emergency protocol she'd memorized. She pulled at the cords, trying to regain control, to stabilize the descent, but the dust devil held her in its grip, twisting and tangling her parachute in a relentless spiral. Beside her, her student's initial thrill turned to terror. Devrey could see his fear, and as she battled the whirlwind, her focus shifted to calming him, offering him a lifeline of courage in the midst of chaos. She fought the force with every ounce of her skill, but the wind was ruthless, an invisible hand pulling them closer to the ground at a speed that made a safe landing impossible. Chapter 5. The Final Descent. As the ground rushed toward them, Devrey's thoughts were a flood of love, fear, and resolve. She thought of Freddie, her husband and partner, her anchor on Earth. She had always lived boldly, facing life head-on with Freddie by her side. Now, in her final moments, she would have been torn between her own fear and her instinct to protect her student. She gave everything she had to shield him, even as the dust devil forced them down in a merciless spiral. The impact was catastrophic. Devrey's life was taken instantly, her spirit soaring to the very skies she had loved. Her student survived, scarred but alive, a testament to her final act of courage. The tragic news soon reached Freddie, shattering his world in an instant. He took to social media, sharing his heartbreak with the world. "She was fearless," he wrote, "a spirit who touched the sky and taught us all to live without fear." His words echoed the bond they shared, a love forged in freedom and courage, now immortalized in loss. Epilogue. A legacy beyond fear.
She was too perfect for this world. It was a big part of her life. It was her job. It was her passion. And not a lot of people get that blessing to be able to work, come home, and rarely ever complain about their work. She loved it every day.
The world responded with an outpouring of love, friends and strangers alike, honoring the memory of a woman who had lived fully and inspired others to do the same. Devrey's friends, her fellow skydivers, gathered to remember her, their stories painting a portrait of a vibrant, daring soul. She had embraced life without boundaries, and though her journey had ended, her spirit lingered in the skies, a guide for those who dared to look up and wonder. A fund was established in her memory, donations pouring in from across the globe, from people who felt connected to her story and her legacy. Freddie, left to navigate the void, found solace in the knowledge that Devrey had lived as she had always dreamed, fearlessly, passionately, forever reaching for the skies. Now, every glance he cast upward carried a reminder of her spirit, a beacon urging others to chase their dreams, to touch the beauty beyond fear. Devrey's life became a legacy, a shining reminder that some lives, though brief, leave behind a light that guides others for years to come.